picture this scenario. It is late on a Tuesday night. You're just sitting on your couch, scrolling through a local car dealership's website.
We have all been there. Just kind of window shopping online, right?
Exactly, yeah. You aren't even necessarily looking to buy a car right this second. But you see that bright, tempting little button. You know the one.
Oh, yeah. The classic value your trade button.
Right. Or maybe it says, get your instant cash offer. So you figure, well, why not? Let's just see what the old sedan sitting in the driveway is actually worth.
I mean, it takes what, 2 seconds?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
You punch in your license plate, type your mileage, and hit submit. You're just expecting a quick number on a screen.
Just a harmless little calculator, or so you think.
Exactly. But what you don't realize is that by clicking that button, you haven't just done some digital math. You have unknowingly set off a massive chain reaction.
A chain reaction that is honestly about to create absolute chaos for that dealership.
Right. And it turns the poor salesperson who calls you the next morning into a total villain. And ultimately, it leaves you, the customer, feeling completely scammed.
It is a wild dynamic.
It really is. But before we dive into how that simple click creates such a massive ripple effect behind the scenes, this deep dive is sponsored by Desk Ready Leads. Contact us today to find out if we can help you get real leads that come with a story attached. Contact Nick at deskreadyleads.com.
So getting back to it, we are really talking about the high cost of empty leads today.
Yes, and exploring how we fix this broken trade-in process. The whole mission of our deep dive today is to explore this crazy business dynamic, algorithmic customer acquisition.
It sounds fancy, but it is causing real problems.
It totally is. We want to figure out why a tool that was ostensibly designed to make buying a car easier is actually ruining the experience for literally everyone involved.
What's fascinating here is that this isn't just about cars or dealerships. I mean, we assume that automating a process inherently makes it better, right? Or at least more efficient.
You would think so. That's the promise of tech.
Exactly. But what we're looking at here is a masterclass in what happens when automation completely misunderstands human intent.
Right.
On the surface, we see this digital tool that promises a super simple transaction. But underneath, it is just a tangled web of misaligned expectations.
Well, let's talk about the pitch first. Because the pitch for these tools sounds absolutely flawless if you're a business owner.
Oh, it's a very compelling pitch.
I mean, a shopper enters their vehicle information, the dealership instantly gets a lead, the customer gets an estimated number.
And then the sales team follows up. The trade turns into an appointment, and boom, sold car.
Yeah, it sounds like the holy grail of internet marketing. You put a little widget on your site, and it basically prints money.
That is certainly the dream that these software vendors are selling. But inside the actual walls of a dealership, the day-to-day reality is drastically different.
Because it's completely broken on the inside.
It is fundamentally broken. And the reason is that you have 4 different parties involved in the single digital interaction. And not one of them wants the same thing.
Wait, 4 parties. Break that down for me.
Sure. Think about the motivations at play here. First, the customer sitting on their couch. They just want a number. They're curious.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, you have the salesperson who gets the alert. They want to start a dialogue. They want a conversation.
Right, they want to sell a car.
Exactly. Third, you have the management team, the desk, as they call it. They need a real physical appraisal of the metal to make a business decision.
They can't just trust a screen.
No, of course not. And fourth, you have the vendor who built the website tool. They simply want credit for generating a lead so they can justify their monthly invoice.
Wow, so everyone is totally misaligned. It's, you know what it's like? It's like checking Zillow to see what your house is worth, just out of sheer curiosity.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Yeah, like you're just looking around, and then the next morning a moving truck actually shows up in your driveway. The intent just doesn't match the response at all.
That analogy hits the nail right on the head, because we are dealing with 2 entirely distinct psychological states here. Valuation intent versus buying intent.
Okay, say more about that.
When you fill out that form, you are just seeking information. You are in a valuation state. You might be comparing your car's value across like 5 different websites.
Right, checking Carvana, CarMax, Kelley Blue Book, the dealer down the street, just shopping the number around.
Exactly. But the tool strips away all that context. It takes your late-night curiosity and sends a hard lead straight into the dealership's CRM.
The Customer Relationship Management Database.
Right. It officially registers you as an active sales opportunity. And it does this long before it has established even a single ounce of trust with you.
So the dealership is treating this simple little form fill like a concrete intent to purchase. while the customer is basically just treating the website like a giant calculator.
And that profound disconnect right there creates a massive trust gap, especially the moment that digital interaction transitions into the physical world.
So let's go there. What happens the moment that customer actually steps onto the physical car lot? Because eventually you get your estimated number and you decide to drive down.
This is where things get really messy.
I can imagine. The customer walks through those glass doors thinking they have this rock-solid, guaranteed value in their pocket. But the dealership knows it's just a conditional guess.
A highly fragile conditional guess at that. I mean, algorithms require standardized data, but used cars, they are the furthest thing from
Oh,
standardized.
for sure. Every used car has its own weird history.
Exactly. The tool might give one single appealing number, but it is entirely blind to the variables that actually dictate what a vehicle is worth in the real world.
Like what? What is it missing?
Well, a computer cannot check the tread depth on the tires. It doesn't know if the car smells like wet dog. It doesn't know if someone smoked in it for 5 years.
Right, or that weird rattling sound it makes when you hit 50 miles an hour.
Exactly. It
Okay.
doesn't see the previous paintwork, the subtle mechanical issues, or any of the impending reconditioning costs to make it sellable.
Think about your own car right now. You know about that dent in the rear bumper, or that the check engine light flickers on when it rained.
We all have those little quirks we ignore.
But in your head, it's still the reliable car that got you through college. We all have blinders on when it comes to our own stuff.
We do. We totally underestimate the mileage and assume minor damage is no big deal. The emotional premium we attach to our cars completely clouds our judgment.
Which sets the stage for a pretty brutal collision with reality once you hit the lot.
It really does. Let's look at a highly specific scenario that literally plays out thousands of times a day.
Okay, lay it on me.
The digital tool promises the customer an estimated value of $18,500. So they bring the car in.
Feeling pretty good about themselves.
Right. Then the used car manager puts it up on a lift, inspects the mechanicals, calculates the repair costs, and appraises the true market value at $15,200.
Oh, wow. That is over a $3,000 difference.
Yep. Now we have a psychological phenomenon kicking in known as anchoring bias.
Anchoring bias. Okay, what does that do here?
The human brain latches on to the first piece of information it receives. In this case, that $18,500.
Even if the website had all those little asterisks and fine print.
Even then, the site can be plastered with disclaimers stating, subject to in-person inspection. But human beings simply do not process fine print when money is involved.
We just see the big shiny number.
Exactly. They anchor to the highest number. So any figure presented after that, even if it is mathematically fair and totally accurate, is neurologically processed as a loss.
Wait, let me push back on that for a second, though, because I'm putting myself in the shoes of a dealership manager.
Sure, go ahead.
Isn't literally any lead better than no lead? I mean, even if it's just a curiosity click or someone anchored to a high number, at least I have their phone number now and I got them in the door.
You would think so, but no.
Why is that considered toxic then?
Because of what it does to the human relationship required to actually sell a complex product like a car, when that customer walks in, they feel validated by this official-looking online tool.
Yeah, they have their printout or screenshot ready to go.
Right. So when the physical appraisal comes back thousands of dollars lower, the salesperson is forced to be the bearer of bad news. The tool created a false expectation, and the salesperson is mandated to break it.
Oh, I see. You are forcing your sales team to start a new relationship by basically taking something away from the customer.
Exactly. They become the villain before they've even introduced themselves properly.
Instantly the bad guy. That is rough.
It is. Instead of beginning the interaction with discovery and building rapport and exploring what the customer actually needs, the salesperson is put in a terrible defensive posture.
Having to explain why their own website's computer algorithm was wrong.
Right, this isn't lead generation, it's conflict generation.
Conflict generation. Wow, that frames the issue so clearly. And I guess that perfectly explains the next piece of the puzzle, the whole dynamic on the showroom floor.
It really does. It dictates how the staff reacts.
Because dealership management often assumes their salespeople are just ignoring these internet trade leads because they're lazy or they just hate dealing with trade-ins.
Which is such a complete misread of the sales floor. Sales professionals acutely understand the value of a customer who actually has a vehicle to trade.
Right, trades mean inventory.
Exactly. They ignore these specific leads because the digital tool has essentially trained them to expect frustration. It is a highly rational economic response.
Because their time is money.
Yes, time is probability.
Right.
A salesperson working fresh foot traffic on the lot, fielding inbound calls, or handling active inquiries is naturally going to deprioritize a vague trade lead.
I mean, they are paid a commission to sell cars, not to chase down people who filled out a curiosity form at midnight in their pajamas.
Exactly. And when you look at what actually pops into the salesperson's computer, you really can't blame them for ignoring it.
What does it actually look like on their end?
The system generates a notification that is notoriously unhelpful. It's literally just a barren little note that says something like, trade appraisal request, 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee, 82,000 miles.
Plus just a name and a phone number, I guess.
Basically, yeah. What is a human being supposed to do with that? It forces the salesperson to use the most terrible cold opener imaginable. They have to call and say, hey, I saw you wanted to value your trade.
Ugh, that sounds awful. It sounds like a telemarketer following up on an extended warranty.
It does. It completely fails to create a real buyer conversation. And beyond that, by immediately introducing a monetary figure, the instant offer creates an immediate commodity price fight.
It's just about the number right out of the gate.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are talking about the economic mechanism of commoditization here. When you remove human context, you turn a complex asset into a simple number.
So the salesperson is instantly forced into a race to the bottom. They have to defend a computer's random guess against algorithms from giant national retailers.
And they never get the chance to ask the customer what they actually like about their current car, or why they might be considering a change in the first place.
The absurdity of the whole situation is just staggering when you lay it all out like this.
It really is when you take a step back.
The salesperson is essentially being forced to defend a computer program they didn't build to a customer who likely isn't even ready to buy about a car the manager hasn't even physically seen yet.
That perfectly encapsulates the failure of algorithmic customer acquisition in this space.
It just misses the mark entirely.
It does, because the tool successfully locates the car, but it completely misses the human problem. Dealerships want trade-ins because acquiring used inventory helps them make deals and stay profitable.
But a consumer sitting at home does not care about helping a local business acquire inventory.
Not at all.
They care about themselves. They want to know if they can lower their monthly payment, or if they can get out of a lease without a massive penalty.
Or if they should pour $2,000 into fixing their current vehicle, or just trade it in to avoid the repair altogether.
Exactly. The trade itself is rarely the actual objective. The trade is just the currency that might help solve their underlying problem.
That is the crux of it. But the digital appraiser tool skips straight to the mathematics. It entirely ignores the human motivation for seeking the number in the first place.
And isn't it true that a lot of these leads aren't even real opportunities to begin with?
Oh, a massive percentage of these leads are just noise. Total noise.
Like duplicate inquiries.
Duplicates, sure. We're service customers who are literally just sitting in the dealership's own waiting room, checking values out of sheer boredom while getting their oil changed.
Oh, that's hilarious. And annoying for the sales team.
Very. Or it's people who owe $10,000 more on their loan than the car is actually worth.
The upside down folks. Or folks who just want to sell an extra car and have absolutely zero intention of replacing it.
Right. And if the dealership's goal is purely acquiring metal, maybe that works. But if the goal is selling vehicles, the algorithm collapses all of these vastly different human situations into one generic homogenized lead type.
It just creates absolute chaos for the sales team trying to sift through the noise.
It does. But now that we've diagnosed this systemic failure, we have to look at how a business actually fixes this.
Yeah.
Because we can't just uninvent the internet.
Right. The tools are here to stay. So how do we actually do that? How do we redesign this process so it stops hurting the dealership and the customer?
The solution requires a fundamental shift in philosophy. We need to start capturing human motivation over mathematical calculation.
Okay, but it starts with a website, right? We just ditch the button?
It starts by abandoning the passive approach. Having a generic value put, your trade button sitting quietly on a homepage waiting for someone to click it, is not a strategy.
So what replaces it?
It has to be replaced by active buyer problem campaigns that speak directly to the consumer's pain points.
Ah, this is where it gets highly practical. Okay, so instead of a generic button, imagine a customer seeing a targeted message that says something like, repair bill too big, compare your trade value first.
Exactly. Or, lease ending soon, check your vehicle's value before turn-in.
Oh, I love that. Or even something tailored to the economy, like bought during a high-rate market. Your trade may help reset the deal.
Yes. Notice the psychological shift there. Those campaigns start with the customer's reality, not the dealership's software tool.
They introduce timing and urgency and emotion.
Right. The appraisal widget simply becomes the conversion mechanism sitting behind a campaign that addresses a tangible problem.
But to pull that off, the forms themselves actually need to ask better questions, don't they?
They absolutely do.
Like, we have to stop just asking about the make and model of the car and start asking about the person's goal. Questions like, are you looking to sell or trade? What is your current monthly payment? Are you trying to avoid a major repair?
Exactly. You have to ask about the human element.
But here's my genuine question on that. Marketers are usually terrified of adding fields to a form. Doesn't asking all those extra questions introduce friction and basically destroy your conversion rates?
Digital marketers are indeed terrified of friction. But in this specific scenario, cognitive friction is exactly what you want.
Really? More friction is better.
Yes. It taps into the psychology of intent qualification. When you make a form slightly harder to fill out, you naturally filter out the bored, idle clickers.
The people sitting in the service lounge just messing around on their phones.
Exactly. Effort qualifies intent. Furthermore, the sunk cost fallacy works in your favor here. If someone takes the time to answer specific questions about their repair bill, they are much more invested in the outcome.
So they are far more likely to actually engage when a human being calls them.
Precisely. Generating fewer, higher quality leads is infinitely more valuable to a sales floor than a massive volume of weak, curiosity-driven data points.
And I imagine part of that friction has to be setting honest expectations right up front, too.
That is critical.
Like, the landing page should prominently and clearly state, this is an estimate. A final value requires an in-person inspection.
It has to be crystal clear.
Sure, it might scare off a few people who were looking for a magic number, but the ones who do hit submit will actually be grounded in reality. A digital tool that generates leads by manufacturing false certainty is basically just borrowing trouble from tomorrow.
I love that phrase, borrowing trouble from tomorrow. And think about how this redesign completely transforms the day-to-day life of the salesperson.
No, it's night and day.
If the CRM note captures the customer's actual motivation, the salesperson is no longer flying blind into a commodity price fight.
This is the shift that changes everything. It takes the salesperson's opening line from a cold, awkward telemarketing pitch to the role of a really helpful guide. Instead of calling and nervously saying, do you want to trade your car? They get to pick up the phone and say, hi, I saw you're trying to avoid a massive repair bill on your Jeep. What did the mechanic quote you?
Yes. That is an actual, empathetic, human conversation. It deals directly with the motivation.
It's totally brilliant.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it requires a complete overhaul of how dealerships and software vendors measure success.
Because right now they're just measuring clicks.
Right. Right now, vendors love form fills because they are incredibly easy to count. They point to a dashboard showing a high volume of generated leads, hand over their invoice, and expect applause.
But a digital form fill is not a business result. A sold car is the result.
Exactly. The vendor gets to celebrate the button click while the sales floor is left to deal with the messy reality of a frustrated customer.
It's so backwards.
This is exactly why leadership needs to stop celebrating vanity metrics. They need to start tracking reality. Out of all those digital leads, how many actually resulted in a shown appointment?
How many converted into real, physical appraisals on the service drive?
How many resulted in sold cars? And what was the true cost per sold unit? If a vendor's algorithm cannot answer those down-funnel questions, the tool is not being judged on its actual economic impact.
Wow. It's a brilliant breakdown of algorithmic failure. To summarize the core insight we've uncovered today, trade appraiser tools aren't inherently evil.
No, not at all.
The math isn't the enemy. But treating them as generic lead traps destroys the foundational trust required to make a sale. A trade lead without human motivation is literally just a customer asking a computer for a number.
Which doesn't help anyone sell a car.
Right. The software tool should never be the strategy itself. It should only ever be the mechanism behind a strategy of solving a customer's real, tangible problem.
And honestly, this framework matters deeply to all of us, even if you never plan to set foot on a car lot or sell a vehicle in your life.
Oh, 100%.
Oh.
Because this happens everywhere.
Exactly, because as consumers, we are constantly being herded into automated funnels. Whether you are applying for a mortgage, shopping for life insurance, or looking at real estate, algorithms are constantly trying to process you.
Just sorting us into little digital buckets.
Right. And so often, these digital funnels strip away the entire context of why we are shopping in the first place. They optimize purely for the vendor's data metrics, rather than addressing the consumer's actual life transition.
It really makes you wonder, if we are so eager to automate the math of a transaction just to save a little bit of time, what other industries are accidentally automating the empathy right out of their sales process?
Leaving you feeling like just another data point behind a digital button.
Exactly. Just another metric on a dashboard.
It's definitely something to think about the next time you're browsing online late at night. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.